You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
We can deport violent, illegal criminals. That makes a lot of sense.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Obama was not the president for this system.
Do you think that House Democrats and Senate Democrats should try to cooperate with Donald Trump
if he tries to kick people off their health insurance? We're going to have a Youngstown street fight.
The American people, they voted against Hillary. They voted against this administration.
We pledge allegiance to one flag, and that flag is the American flag.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to the 2017 Red, White, and Blue Conservative Revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600. Now, here are your hosts, Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and Janice Daniels.
All right, thank you. Good morning, thank you. Welcome. Greetings. Welcome to the Abolitionist Roundtable, America's fastest growing radio show on Saturday morning. Oh boy, do we have something to talk about today. So you want to get your cup of coffee and get around the radio. If you have any friends, you might want to send them a text and let them know that the Abolitionist Roundtable is on radio right now, is on live right now, right here on WAAM TALK1600, the conservative powerhouse. Here, let me just mention a little housekeeping real quick. If you'd like to send us an email, go to art@whamradio.com. We'll read your emails. If you don't like to call, go to our website also, artofmichigan.com. If you can help us continue to be on radio and also help us to continue with a number of projects that we're working on. If you don't mind lending a little bit of financial support, we would greatly appreciate that. Again, that's artofmichigan.com. And then second, while you're there, it's a little icon right there to your right. It's a YouTube icon. Let's continue the conversation on this show and some of our other shows by becoming a YouTube subscriber and comment on there. And, you know, Phil and I, we checked that, and we would comment, we would comment on some of the information that we discussed, some of the shows that we discussed on there. And if you're looking for, when I mention anything, let me just say another thing. Whenever I mention something or Phil mentions something, information, right away, when we post our show on YouTube, you can click on the notes and you'll see everything that we reference, everything that we absolutely reference. So one thing we don't do here is like liberals, what they do is they just make up stuff. And then you say, well, where can I find that information at? Well, of course, we try to get it to you before, like New York Times, before they go back and edit. They go back and edit what they say when they said that he was wiretapped, but then they go back and they edit it a month later after the revelation come out that he exposed. Oh, I read the New York Times. They said that I was wiretapped. Well, they go back and they edit what they said and rewrite their story. But anyway, so if you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 734-822-1600. If you'd like to send us a correspondence, artofmichigan.com, P.O. Box 135, Garden City, Michigan, 48135. All right, so let's get into...
Before you go on.
Yes, sir.
You know, they are constantly having to edit and rewrite what they say because they take one position when the Democrats are in power, and then they have to change that position because they are backing and co-signing for bad behavior by the Democrats and actually law breaking.
You know what, Phil? That's a good point. Yeah. You notice that when they all that protection and all the manipulation they did during the 8 years of the Obama administration to make him a good president because he was the first whatever. He was for them. He was the first liberal community organizer that was elected. And so now what they're doing is because they still have to protect his legacy and also protect what they wrote and what they did. There's a continuing that they have to manipulate, a continuation. And the so bad thing, it don't end.
But they never acknowledge any good deeds by the opposition party, the Republican Party. Now, and then they take it all the way to the extreme, and everybody is extreme right winger.
That's right.
When the Democrats are the party of extremity.
Oh boy, we're gonna get into that too. Here, so this is what we're gonna do, folks. Now, if you want to go to YouTube and look up the topic of this show today, it's called Guerrilla War Tactics. The Guerrilla War Tactics. So the Guerrilla War Tactics I'm talking about is the Democrats, not Republicans. We don't. That's not that we do. If we had guerrilla war tactics, we'd be in a little bit better position than we in right now. We wouldn't still have a witch hunt for something that does not exist when they talking about Russian, this Russian connection that Trump had, this collusion.
Collusion. What a word.
Then we can go back, Phil, and we know we could. Where the real connection is between the Clintons' love affair and the Russians' love affair. Because we know that Bill Clinton had a number of speaking engagements. I want to see if I can, I'd like to talk to Bill and have him write me some of those speeches that he wrote because he got unprecedented amount of money, Phil,
and then Hillary
for our speech.
And then Hillary got a lot of money for her speeches, and she won't even allow you to know what she was talking about.
Oh no, she don't want you to know what she was talking about.
So I mean, and they always talk about role model. How you going to be a role model when you go out and make $500,000 to give a speech
for a 60-minute speech?
Yeah, and you're not even giving the formula to the people that you're supposed to be a role model.
That's
for.
right.
They don't even know what you said.
They should also have that opportunity to go into some of these big banks, go into some of these other establishments that she got this unprecedented amount of money, and also she should even give them her tailor to where she get all her little mouse suits at too. Because I know that she liked all the little mouse
her latest is a Black Panther knockoff, with the black leather jacket.
She was in California. I'm thinking, man, it's kind of hot to be wearing leather in California. But here, Phil, we're going to start off because I know this happened last weekend, but again, this is a weekend show. This is your #1 weekend show at 7 a.m. In Southeast Michigan. And also, we're trying to be the #1 weekend show at 7 a.m. Around the United States. So that's what our goal is, and that's what we're working towards. But Sean Hannity had an interview with, and so a lot of times what we do is we think that we can go into some of these other, if they call Phil, that we think that's noble that they call us. They wanna, show how Phil and I advanced ourselves. We did this, a number of things. Well. And Sean know better, and Sean knows, but he had an interview with a legend, with a news legend, Ted Koppel, best hairdo in America. But Ted Koppel said something. He said something, and that we want to get into that's going to set the table for what we call the guerrilla war tactics, the liberals' guerrilla war tactics. So. Derek, we're going to play Soundbite 101, and folks, get ready. The Abolitionist Roundtable is in session.
We have to give some credit to the American people that they're somewhat intelligent and that they know the difference between an opinion show and a news show.
Yeah.
You're cynical. Look at that.
I am cynical because,
You think we're bad for America? You think I'm bad for America?
Yeah.
You do?
In the long haul, I think you and all these opinion shows...
That's sad, Ted.
No, you know why?
That's sad.
Because you're very good at what you do, and because you have attracted a significantly more influential...
Well,
let me finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence before you do that.
With all due respect.
You have attracted people who are determined that ideology is more important than facts.
Okay, thank you very much, Ted. That was very telling right there, Phil. Ideology is more...
especially when you think like him, ideology is way down on the list of things of importance when it comes to politics. These guys have an ideology that will never change. And that's why it bugs me so much
You talking about Ted Koppel?
Ted Koppel and leftists.
Yeah,
he's a leftist.
He is a leftist, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you, when you watch a news program, they believe that liberalism is normal.
Yeah,
that's where the majority of Americans lie at right there, in the land of liberalism.
Yeah.
And they believe that again, this is what from Morning Joe, they was talking about, you know, Trump and some of his rallies and stuff like that. And one of the hosts, Mika, she said this right here. She said, it's our job to control exactly what the people think. And that's what, and so right there, that was so telling. Yeah. That's what Ted believed. It's our job. It's his job. When he said ideology is more important than facts, he's saying that it's our job to tell the American people what to think. Yeah. And they've controlled the American people for the last 200 years. For the last 20 years, 30 years, since 1988, when Russia came on. I think Sean Hannity started about 10 years later. In 1998, he started at Fox. And so they built this audience that because they asked the questions that Ted Koppel won't ask.
That's right.
And that's all and that's what this is about. And so they upset because Ted Koppel have never had the kind of audience that Sean has. Yeah. You know, 20 million, somewhere around 5 million TV viewers. Then he has a radio program also that he gets somewhere another 3 to 5 million listeners every week. So he's grown a massive audience on his own over the last 20 years, 25 years that he's been in radio.
And what you talk about people like Ted Koppel not asking the pertinent questions, that's exactly what it is. The reason why is because this is the way it is, and if you disagree with it, then there's something wrong with you.
That's right.
Now, when I look up and I see what had been going on in this country for a number of years, when I was in my 20s, I made the decision, hey, neither one of these guys are doing what needs to be done, because one group of people are too meek to defend themselves, and these guys will not tell the truth. Even if whatever happens, they're going to lie about it and tell you that you're wrong if you don't understand what their position is.
Yeah, what they did is they've learned a great strategy of how to tell you what happened. Okay, so we just watched, they watched the tape. It was 2 shootings. There was a shooting, and it was a Trayvon Martin and and what's his name? Okay, and so now because they trying to present this narrative. Remember, CNN had to edit the tape. They edited the tape so that they can present the information in an unbiased way, because they were trying to present a racial narrative. And this is what the Ted Koppels of the world have done for years. They have presented things in a narrative to have you think a certain way, intentionally, about the Green Movement. You know, thinking that because I drive a car, and when America only represents 4% of the planet, 70% of the planet is water, but they want you to think because I turned up the heat to 71 because my wife said she was cold, that I'm evil. That I'm destroying the planet. Because I have an SUV and I drove it to work, this is what Ted Koppel and them have sold and American people for years have believed this, Phil. They have believed that we were destroying the planet, that it was us that need to, that the other parts of the world right now, the reason why, you know, things are happening in these other parts of the world is because of America. And it's not because of America. It's because of these dictators that run these countries.
Yep. And if you go behind those, when the Iron Curtain came down, and when the Soviet Union broke up and dissolved, guess what? Then we found out what was actually going on in those countries. You know, I mean, the pollution and all of that stuff that these guys were very, very good at signing on to these treaties.
Yes.
Because that was the reason why they were behind, because we had industrialized and we capitalized off of that industrialization. These fools couldn't do it.
No, they couldn't do it. And Phil, if we want to talk about the environment, America does things better and cleaner than any other country on the planet.
Exactly right.
Any other country on the planet. Do we need some advances? We still need some. I think we still need some advances and improvements in our infrastructure. Do I believe that? Yeah, I do believe some of that right there. I think that can be improved.
But most of the reason why the infrastructure is failing is because some fool in the EPA or in the energy
allocate
department
money to departments that and they spending money on projects that we don't need to. They spending money on on studies that we don't need to spend our money on. So again, this is the Ted Capos, so we can go on and on
and let's don't even get into that fool. What's his name from Michigan here?
Yeah,
Moore, or what is his name?
Michael Moore. Michael Moore, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I got a little bit on Michael Moore here. So here, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break for a few minutes. Let's take a break for a few minutes, Derek, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna continue the conversation.
Man, that's a fast.
And now back to the Abolitionists Roundtable. Patriotic Black American conservatism, leading the charge and advancing the 4%. Back to your hosts, Del and Phil.
All right, thank you, folks, for joining the Abolitionist Roundtable. If you'd like to join the conversation, give us a call at 734-822-1600. Again, 734-822-1600. You're listening to WAAM Talk 1600 on the Conservative Powerhouse. Now, here, we're going to go back again. So we're going to continue this right here. We just talked about Ted Capo and then Mika, what she said from Morning Joe, that it's their responsibility to tell the American people exactly what they think. I'm not going to play the soundbite. You know Morning Joe. This is somebody that could call himself a Republican, and this is just, I'm talking about, he's no different than all these leftists that's on MSNBC. But anyway, we just this week, now a couple weeks ago, we know that Trump tweeted that the Obama administration was wiretapping him, and whether he used the word wiretap or not, they were doing a surveillance of him. And so prior to his tweet, we didn't have this information. There was the Obama administration assistant deputy secretary that went on Morning Joe, that went on MSNBC, and she told it all. This is prior to Trump tweeting this out. This was on the 2nd. It was a few days later that he did his tweet. And so we're going to listen to Evelyn Farkas, Dr. Evelyn Farkas, and she's going to tell it all. So we're going to go to Evelyn Farkas, Derek, at 102.
Well, I was urging my former colleagues and frankly speaking, the people on the Hill. It was more actually aimed at telling the Hill people, get as much information as you can, get as much intelligence as you can before President Obama leaves the administration, because I had a fear that somehow that information would disappear with the senior people who left. So it would be hidden away in the bureaucracy, that the Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods, meaning we would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more. We have very good intelligence on Russia. So then I had talked to some of my former colleagues, and I knew that they were trying to also help get information to the Hill.
A lot going on today.
Yeah, that's why you have the leaking.
Oh boy! Now, Phil.
Oh man.
Now this is the assistant deputy secretary. I mean, did she reveal it? Did she tell it all?
Yeah, and actually, she actually believes that she is above any scrutiny. I mean, to come out and admit this stuff, and they're they're talking about some collusion between Trump and them. What she just explained to you is what we talked about probably a month ago when there was some controversy about whether or not he was wiretapped, whether or not he was being surveilled.
That's right.
And that's what it is.
See, they fighting over the wording.
Yeah.
It don't matter, whether it's wiretapping. But she said it was some kind of surveillance. They was doing some kind. Matter of fact,
and then she comes out and admitted.
She admitted it, and she said we had to capture this before they found out that we were capturing information about some of the people on his transition team.
And that's where
But guess what? Comey said this right here. Comey from the FBI. Now he said, I looked into it. There was no surveillance. But then he said we've been watching. We've been doing the surveillance of Trump since July. Okay, which one is it?
Yes.
I'm curious, Phil, because they got me mixed up.
And then
where's the truth there?
Not only him, but Brennan.
Yes.
And the admiral that's sitting there next to the FBI agent.
Yes.
All of them saying, well, there's no evidence that there's any wiretapping or any surveillance. Then he turns around and says it's been an ongoing investigation
since July. Since July. So I'm curious.
But like I said,
oh boy! All right, folks. All right, we want you to join the conversation. You have to be a part of this. Ted Koppel don't have a show like this right here. He don't want your opinion. We want your opinion. Give us a call 734-822-1600 when you see you on the other side of the break.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable, patriotic, red, white, and blue, conservative all-access radio, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice. They're leading the charge in advancing the conservative revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored, the evil power of left-wing liberal tribalism. If you try to analyze or evaluate the activities and subversive upheavals being committed across the nation by left-wing liberals, you will fail unless you understand that the master control that governs their deeds is tribalism. Tribalism, which comes from the word tribe, is defined as the beliefs, culture, and organization of people with common interests. Being a member of a tribe in and of itself is not a problem. However, the ideology of the tribe determines if it is negative or positive. Therefore, any tribe whose beliefs are predicated on the perpetuation of lies, biases, bigotry, and unjustified hatred is a negative tribe, and so will be their tribalism. The Democrat Party has been and still is a negative tribe, whose politics dictate acceptance without regrets or shame of anarchists, insurrectionists, outlaws, and avid anti-American militants into their domain. Left-wing liberals' influence within the Democrat Party is the catalyst for programs that corrupt the intellectual sovereignty of individuals and groups and give them a mindset of civil disobedience. Left-wing liberals are secular humanists, merchants of misery, who sanction the use of derogatory and incendiary language that assassinates the character of non-tribe members as they inflict unspeakable pain upon the society of legal Americans. Left-wing liberals and Democrats are fond of calling conservatives and Republicans racists, fascists, and Nazis, but they never call them communists because they reserve that name for themselves. Left-wing liberals share a commonality with Democrats, communists, and Muslims in that they work collectively to divide the United States into separate enclaves that weaken the strength of incorporated unity. That is why killing Christians and Jews by Muslims is considered collateral casualties in their war against God and the United States. Tribalists demand devout loyalty to the revolution of obstruction and resistance. That is why during the inauguration of President Trump, they found no fault with rioters in Washington, D.C. or rioters in Berkeley, California. Daily, left-wing liberal tribalists who are bought and paid for by hate American traitors hypocritically use the pretext of civil and human rights, diversity, and equality to conceal their deplorable deeds. And the most reprehensible deed of left-wing liberals is their dismissal of one's character by using pigmentation tribalism as a weapon to segregate and mislead people into believing the self-loathing myth of never-ending racism. Therefore, we the people, for our security and survival, must not ignore the evil power of left-wing liberal tribalism. I am Milt, logically speaking, uncensored, saying, think about it.
All right, thank you, folks, for joining Abolitionist Roundtable. We're back again. Greetings. Welcome to the Abolitionist Roundtable. If you'd like to join the conversation, 734-822-1600. Was that a great commentary again by Milt? He always does. You're going to probably hear Milt later on this morning. But again, we're continuing to try to set the table for something. Ted Koppel, he opened his big mouth and he said that you're good. And, he said that ideology is more important than facts. Folks, they have an ideology, and it's more important than facts. That's the truth. That they have an ideology, and their ideology tell you will not tell you of the real facts, the real truth. They always talking about right now. The news media continuing with the lie about this Russian collusion. The real person they need to be really looking at is Bill and Hillary Clinton. There's the real Russian connection. We're talking about uranium, American uranium. We're talking about Bill. I want to get some of those. I want him to coach me on how to speak like him, to get $500 million of speech, to get tens of millions of dollars donated to the Clinton Foundation. And there's a consistency of people getting contracts, this uranium contracts and other contracts, and donations to the Clinton Foundation.
And selling that uranium to Iran.
And the Russian was a part of that deal too.
And let's don't forget, Russia gets the uranium and gives it and sells it to Iran. And then we have the Iran connection right in the White House with Valerie Jarrett.
Yeah. So again, all right. So here we're going to clear some of the lines real quick, and then we're going to continue the conversation. Again, let me just go back for a minute. Nunez, Nunez found some information, and he went directly to the president. I don't think he should have went to the Democrats or to his. He's a part of the, what is he? He's on the intelligence committee, because the Democrats would have went out first and they would have spent that information. We just heard the woman, the assistant deputy secretary from the Obama administration. They was capturing this. They was doing the surveillance there, and she was encouraging her colleagues to continue to do this right here before the Trump transition team found out that they were doing this. So here we're going to go to Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, gentlemen.
Morning, Gary.
Ted Koppel would totally reject everything that Milt Harris just said, because it lays out his total dereliction of duty as a news reporter.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Okay. We agree.
Yeah,
And,
Ted, you're right. Ted Koppel, he's been an icon for many years, and he really believed some of that bull crap that he went in. These were scripts that he did.
Are you
He
familiar?
just went in there and just read the script.
Are you
go ahead.
Gary? Are you familiar with Alfred E. Newman?
Yeah, sure, of course. who is it? We got somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of all news reporting is fake news.
Yes.
Because you got the global warming, you got the Black Lives Matter, voter suppression, ID, war on women, the Russia thing, and Planned Parenthood is healthcare. I mean, it just goes on and on. It goes on and on and on. Then you got the reporters like April Ryan, who was leading the question. She was asking a bunch of dumb things, and he went up to ask. He stopped her, and then she goes later on to different programs and acts like an innocent little victim when she was leading the witness, which is just a bunch of what it is. I'm sure, but it's just insane that these people get away with it, and we all know that they're just an arm of the Democratic Party. They're not reporters. They're operatives for the Democrat Party.
And they are operatives. And this is the part. This is why the conservatives and others in this and moderates can dominate, and also the libertarians dominate the airways and the radio. The news media is dominated by liberal leftists, and they control that. They control what people think. And so places like Fox is a little bit more independent. It's not all right-wing. There are people on there that's a little bit more moderate, but then absolutely it is. It's only one sacred place where you can get an alternative on some of the news that's out there. That's all it is. And this is why radio has become so popular. People have watched the news media manipulate them for years and years and years to give up more taxes, to give up more taxes, to give up more taxes, to give up more freedom. This is what the American people
radio is the meeting place. It's the town hall. You see,
it is the town hall because there's an exchange.
The college campuses are the meeting place for the leftists.
Yes.
I mean, Elizabeth Warren and all of these people come out of these dens of iniquity, because that's all they are.
They are.
I mean, they're teaching our kids some of the most rancid of garbage that's ever been put out there.
Yeah.
Well, I can consider you talk show hosts the modern-day Sons of Liberty, because you guys are holding us together.
Well, we try to. And Phil and I mean, we watched this all week, and I mean, we can't wait to get here so we can have an exchange. We can have a dialogue so we can all talk together. See, Ted Koppel, they don't have this right here with the people. They don't have a dialogue. There's no exchange and what the facts are. There's no exchange. He gonna tell you what the facts are, and you listen and you accept it. That's it.
But I just wonder how they are able to get these ideas across, like diversity is our strength. And we are all immigrants, and we are a nation of immigrants.
Oh, my goodness. Can you believe that?
How about a nation of legal immigrants?
Yes.
Well, the godfather of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, says that they actually teach this stuff in the schools of media schools. So they've got a term for them. And they actually teach this stuff, how to be subversive, basically.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Nice day.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right. Well, here, Phil, you said something right here. You talked about a little bit about here. I'm gonna go into the sanctuary city. Okay, and then I'm gonna lead into what this judge in California, the California. This is a chief justice now.
Yeah.
Talking about Trump. She talking about Trump. She talking about he's breaking the law. She blasts Trump for immigration crackdown. Said that the rule of law is being challenged. Wait a minute. She said the rule of law is being challenged. This California justice and a fast emerging as one of Trump's administration's most vocal critics in the judiciary. So one of the things what she's saying is that that because the president wants to enforce the rule of law, that's what the federal government's responsibility is, and that because California, they want to create these sanctuary cities.
Yeah.
That means that they want to
which
protect,
are against the Constitution,
which
and
is
the
against
law.
Our laws, and they want to protect non-citizens.
See, and this is where we need to scrutinize just what these people are doing. What they are trying to do is overthrow the legitimately elected officials in this country, starting with Trump. But they also want to destroy the Constitution, the very fabric that holds this nation together. They are willing to throw that Constitution out and put in a hodgepodge of whatever laws are popular at the present time. And one of them is that illegal immigration, as they call it, is just as legitimate as people that have to pay tons of money and spend years out of their life to become citizens. They want to throw all of that out and put this process into place now and give people something that they don't deserve and preserve their power.
Well, that's what because Phil, if you want to protect a sanctuary city, you want to protect people that are here illegally.
Yeah.
Now, they broke the law, number one, when they came in here and didn't go through the legal process. So this is from Front Page Magazine. It says sanctuary cities choose criminals over its citizens. That's what they're doing today. And so, Phil, are we watching liberals trying to remake their cities right now with illegals?
That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Because what I looked at this census, and it showed that the census showed that it's people. The more of these illegal immigrants that's populating these cities because of crime and other things that's going on, they're leaving the cities. People are leaving these cities with their feet. They're going to other cities that where there's less crime, where they have better schools. And so, matter of fact, even right here in Michigan, a couple of years ago, our own governor said that we want to bring, these refugees here and put them in Detroit. And repopulate them in Detroit. So he wanted to bring 30,000. Why? Why can't you rebuild it? Why can't you help them, by reducing crime in those other areas, give them better schools, and let them go back, let the people migrate back to the city?
Dale, here's the thing. Why are these people willing to take illegals across our borders and bring in people from other lands
all around the world?
That are determined that they are going to conquer the world.
That's right.
And
they said it.
And then they tell us that we are the retrobates because we don't want to go for that nonsense. But these judges, in my estimation, are at the forefront of this makeover of this country, this takeover of this country, and they're willing to give it to anybody that'll let them stay in power. And we are really not doing what our duty is as citizens to keep allowing these judges to tell us that
to hold them accountable. You're right, to hold these judges accountable.
Now, I'll go for it. For the laws that we have here that have been constitutionally passed, these judges are derelict in their duty and their oath of office, and they should be taken out of office. If they can take Judge Roy
Moore,
if they can take him out of his job and impeach him for standing up for keeping the 10 Commandments on the wall, the religion is constitutionally protected, but this guy gets thrown out of his job? You mean to tell me that this woman that tells us that sanctuary cities are approved by her and her like, and that's not reason to have her thrown off the bench? We need to start impeaching these judges and throwing them out of office and maybe even putting them in jail in the case of if they turn somebody loose because of the sanctuary city policy, and that person kills somebody, those judges ought to be put in jail.
Absolutely. They should be held responsible for that right there. Again, this is from the Washington Examiner. You know, it says the census immigration to bust a 100-year record continue, and if it continues to keep going at this rate right here, we're going to go to our line. We're going to go to Gary from Roseville. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Yeah,
hey,
you're
Gary,
right.
you don't mind? Can I see your? Are you an American citizen?
Yes, definitely. Born and raised.
Let me see your green card.
I just really want to know why. What kind of brainwaves did the Russians send out to make everybody vote for Trump?
Yes.
You know, that's my question. You know, I get so sick of this narrative.
Yeah, it would seem to me it would be easier to get a bunch of congressmen elected than it would be the president. You know?
I mean, it's so phony. It's ridiculous. You know, I don't know. It's it's amazing how extreme they are in this narrative, this lie about how they can Russia can make people vote for somebody.
That's a good point.
You know, brainwaves or any other reason. That's stupid.
Well, maybe that's subliminal messages that they're doing or something, because they keep saying there's no proof that this actually happened, but yet still it happened, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And of course they keep saying that there was no surveillance, but there was surveillance. There was no spying, but there was spying. So where is it at? We probably have to call and ask, find out where Ted Koppel is going to be at, so we can find out if he'll reveal that information for us. No, he won't reveal that information. No, he won't reveal the truth at all, because he needed, we chasing after this Russian story, this connection of Trump and the Russians, which liberals are trying to put something together on that. The real story is, Gary, and it's been there for years, and it's still there, is the collusion of the Clintons and the Russians. How Bill Clinton can go out, I'm talking about, and make $500,000, Gary, for a half an hour speech, unprecedented amount. If he don't mind coaching me, I want to be coached. So, and other Americans all around the world, all around the country should. Clinton should have a class on teaching them how to coach them on speaking, on how they can speak on the same level that he's speaking, and get paid $500,000, and then turn around some of these same foreign countries all around the world has donated tens of millions of dollars. I don't know if it's up to billions yet.
Yes.
It's close to billions.
Yeah, it's $2 billion.
To the Clinton Foundation.
$2 billion in that foundation.
And so they're. Gary, with the Clintons having this kind of influence, that need to be investigated.
Well, what was that famous statement that Hillary made when they left the White House? They said they were poor.
Yeah, dead broke.
Unbelievable, the stuff that they perpetrate.
Yeah, she said we left the White House, we were dead broke. Yeah. And then she went right to Chappaqua and bought a $500,000 house.
So
this is left-wing rhetoric.
More left-wing rhetoric. Again, here we talked about this. Is from the Washington Times. It says the Green Groups promise guerrilla war tactics to stop Keystone Pipeline. And we know that they'll do this kind of stuff right here, these guerrilla war tactics. But the real guerrilla war tactics is the misinformation right now that's going on by the news media, the left-wing news media. The real guerrilla warfare is by liberals that's in our Congress and our Senate right now. Yep. That's continuing. I mean, they just took a shellacking in the election. And, I mean, they so upset about this election that even Maxine Waters claimed that, this is from the Conservative 101, Maxine Waters claimed that black people who should hate Trump, they are real patriots. This is what she said. This is what Maxine Waters said. She said that black people should hate.
You James Brown.
Amazing what they can tell people how to think. Tell people what to do.
And that's what she's doing. Again, this is the control of thinking of people. Yeah. This is the control of thinking of people. She said they should hate Trump. Why? Hate him for what? For what? He you know, what he's trying to do is just the greater good for America. Liberals don't want the greater good for America. They want you to stay in those poor, impoverished neighborhoods. Yeah. That's what she probably represents, some area where they poor and impoverished. They don't have opportunity. She's not going to, they might have, look, they'll let a little progress go on. They'll fix the roads every now and then. They'll donate a library to somebody. Okay, so they put more bars in the schools, and they give you more funding for schools and get everybody a computer. That's okay, but then the books, they're not teaching them anything from books though. They're indoctrinating.
Let's don't forget about midnight basketball. Yes. You know, they'll give you a couple of those.
You know, so this is the kind of stuff she wants. People to hate Trump. Yeah. She want people to be angry at him. Yeah. You know, for misinformation. This is guerrilla warfare that the liberals are engaged in. And we, on our side, we have to understand that.
But one thing I want to ask you, Gary, you've heard the reports that since the election, there have been $3 trillion worth of wealth that poured in on Wall Street. How much of that money do you think Maxine Waters is the beneficiary of?
I bet you she invested in it.
That's a prize.
Yeah. But she's not encouraging her citizens, the people, her constituents that she represents, that they should be taking advantage of all the opportunities that's about to come. Gary, I'm sorry. It looked like we're at the end of the show.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Folks, we're trying to save America. Don't listen to Ted Capo. We'll see you next week. Go to our website, artofmichigan.com. We need your support.
And for the sake of goodness, do not listen to Maxine Waters. Please. The Abolitionist Roundtable invites the WAAM TALK1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan, 48135.
Or follow Phil, Del, and Janice at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.